What makes a superstar? That's a question that runs through the heads of both the public and artists. How does someone make that jump to stardom? There are so many talented artists in the world, but there must be a differentiator that propels some talented artists to stardom and leaves others struggling to get their music heard. Obviously, the first answer that comes to mind for many is resources. While that's certainly part of the equation, there are numerous artists that have had label backing, resources, a hit or two, and they were still unable to make that jump to lasting stardom. So there has to be more than simply talent and resources. There must be an intangible, magnetic energy as part of the brand. There must be a deep understanding of the core fan base, a solid body of work, an unstoppable vision for their career, and finally, a marketing plan to follow that allows them to reach new audiences. All of these things come together to help create superstars. Let's start with the intangible it factor. That intangible, magnetic energy that draws people in manifests in different ways for each artist. However, the simplest description I've come up with is a blend of being relatable while also being something fans aspire to be. It can start off as an ambiguous and ethereal thing, but if an artist can wrap their heads around what comprises that energy, it can provide a clear path for building connections with audiences. Let's take Beyoncé as one example. For many Beyoncé fans, they grew up with her from Destiny's Child and have followed her until now. It feels like she's an ingrained part of their life, and they truly know her. Beyond that, her discography is packed with vulnerable moments and relationship struggles, along with moments of triumphs, messages of self-worth, and displays of incredible self-confidence that fans can only aspire to. In a song where she sings about the disbelief and hurt after being cheated on, she's also able to confidently state that she's the baddest woman in the game. Drake follows a similar formula, making tracks full of emotions and vulnerabilities that men often don't want to share, and he intertwines that with a healthy dose of bravado, braggadocio, and ambition. Jay-Z takes a different path altogether. He didn't really include vulnerability into his music until recently. What people connected to with Jay-Z was their own ambition. People who see themselves as hustlers, entrepreneurs, and who want the finer things in life connect with his music. Jay-Z is the ultimate fulfillment of those desires they aspire to achieve. On a smaller scale, look at the group Run the Jewels. Alone, Killer Mike and LP didn't have huge careers, but as Run the Jewels, they've grown to new levels. Fans relate to the sense of outrage in their music, a message of living on their own terms, an overall just rebellious feeling. Fans that aspire to live their life with that same feeling deeply relate. That's a much less mainstream feeling and desire, but one that has catapulted their career to a new level and allowed them to connect with a specific niche audience. Now, let's talk about building a brand and a core fan base. Across the board for any artist, it is essential to build and focus on a core fan base early on. That early fan base can seem like a niche market, and that's fine because opportunity to expand will come. In fact, according to Music Industry Insights by Medium, fan bases are now built through niche audiences across different platforms and channels. This is incredibly important because there are niches that can be cultivated not only online but locally. It's important to know how to pitch to local publications, radio stations, and college students. Knowing key venues and players also gives artists an inroad into local niches that allow them to cultivate an audience. From there, artists can book shows and continually gain new fans that they can tack on to their core fan base. A strong core fan base will keep you afloat and will generate the necessary buzz to create new and larger openings. Billie Eilish's manager said that the first major thing they did was focus on their core. As she began releasing songs, fans were able to drive engagement. For example, when her song Ocean Eyes was featured on Spotify's new music playlist, it didn't perform well as some of the other songs, but her core fan base was able to drive engagement, and that engagement opened pathways for her to eventually reach new audiences. Beyond the basics of brand building, artists who want to build a brand that draws fans in and stands out should think about how to incorporate some of these influential brand elements: community, storytelling, rituals, symbols, vision, sensory appeal, competition, evangelism, mystery, and grandeur. These brand elements help build the narrative around an artist, and Amber Grimes, VP of creative for Capitol Music Group, admits the difference between a superstar and run-of-the-mill artist lies in their narrative. The Weeknd is one of the most legendary examples of building a brand with a shield of enigma. For a while, he only gave fans music and exclusive posts on Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, but he made sure he didn't reveal basic facts about himself. Fans had no clue whether it was a single artist or a full band. In fact, his music would play in the American Apparel store he worked at, and his co-workers would have no idea it was him. In an attempt to put the music and aesthetic of the brand at the forefront, The Weeknd was able to establish an authentic image and values, which eventually led to a cult following of fans who passionately shared or admired the lifestyle of his music. The lyrics in these dark, unstructured, and often unpredictable songs were the only context that fans had, so they believed his stories about sex, excessive partying, and drug taking. By being anonymous, The Weeknd silenced any competing narratives or image that wouldn't support the life he was portraying in his music. In fact, the mysterious nature allowed fans to let their imagination run wild and shape the experience themselves. It also had the added benefit of encouraging fans to focus on the lyrics for their own personal connection, rather than trying to guess if they had referred to past relationships with another celebrity or a party they heard about in the tabloids. The brand is only one part of building a core fan base. The music must resonate with listeners, and artists must constantly dig deeper in their marketing efforts. A consistent release of singles that lead to a mixtape, EP, or album is necessary to keep fans' attention. It can be a way to ensure fans return to an artist over and over again. A body of work that is built during this time is critical to feed the core fan base and for when an artist is ready to expand beyond their niche. For The Weeknd, releasing his first 3 singles, which led to the House of Balloons mixtape, allowed for an opportunity to work with Drake. He had songs ready to give to Drake for his album Take Care. He then followed up by releasing 2 more mixtapes over the next 9 months, Thursday and Echoes of Silence. By the beginning of the following year, all the major labels were working to sign him. He had proven his ability to build a fan base, consistently release music, and now he had leverage. Okay, now let's talk about moving beyond the niche to stardom. For any artist who wants to be a superstar, a clear and major vision is critical. That vision not only guides the direction of the artist's career, but also shapes their sound. For Billie Eilish, her label's CEO credits her strong vision as key in helping the label properly support her. They were able to give her the freedom in developing her sound while having clear direction on where to build partnerships that would expand her reach and grow her fan base. After building a niche and core audience, a brand grows by expanding its reach to new audiences by attracting their eyes and eventually their ears. After The Weeknd's release of his debut album Kissland, which was a success with his core fanbase and critics but failed to catapult him to the stardom he envisioned, he went back to the drawing board. With a goal of being the biggest artist in the world, he first did a collaboration with Ariana Grande, an artist with a different fan base than his own, allowing him to reach a new audience. He continued the collaborations with other major artists and also began working with more traditional pop producers and songwriters while adding his own stylistic twists. He learned about traditional song structures, hooks, pre-hooks, bridges, and major and minor keys. These fundamentals were extremely important because, as Quincy Jones says, you have to master the rules before you can break them so you know what you're doing. This allowed his style to evolve while retaining what made it unique in the beginning and allowing it to appeal to a wider audience. There's no guarantee a certain path will work in achieving stardom. If an artist has a magnetic energy, the it factor, along with a strong core fan base to center on, has built a well-defined brand, has a solid body of work, and focuses on expanding from their niche, then the odds are much better. Expanding reach isn't just about collaborations, local pitches, or very consumable music. It takes marketing as well. Marketing must be focused on reaching new audiences while clearly communicating what an artist's brand is and why someone would want to experience it. If artist brands build a strong foundation, then shift to marketing smartly to expand their reach, not just engage their existing audiences, then achieving superstardom can move from being a dream to something that can be accomplished with a smart, carefully plotted plan. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave your thoughts in the comments, or leave suggestions on other artists and topics I should look into next.